Hello everyone, I am Denise Fatima Isanan from STEM 11 Apollonius and I will discuss the Japanese occupation in the Philippines. The Japanese period has been described as one of the worst periods in the Philippine history and literature. The weekly Liwayway publication was placed under rigorous monitoring and administered by a Japanese individual called Ishiwara. During the Japanese occupation in the Philippines, writing in English was banned, so authors switched to writing in Filipino. The Japanese government had a lot of bad feelings towards the United States, and they did everything to stop the Filipinos from liking the Americans. Nihongo, the Japanese language, was introduced to the Filipinos, but it was not well accepted since it was taught to them by force. It became illegal to compose creative works in English, so Filipino literature had a break because of the restrictions, and with that, many Filipino authors wrote plays, poetry, short stories, and novels. So now let's move on to the literature during the Japanese occupation in the Philippines. During the Japanese occupation in the Philippines, the predominant themes of most poems were nationalism, country, love and life in the barrios, faith, religions, and the arts. There are three types of poems during the Japanese occupation, and the first one is haiku. Haiku is a poem in free verse of Japanese origin. It has 17 syllables divided into three lines. The first has 5 syllables, the second has 7 syllables, and the last line has 5 syllables. The second one is karaniwang anyo, or the usual form. Karaniwang anyo are traditional poems, and one of the examples is the Tanaga and Ambahan of pre-colonial. The third one is Tanka. A tanka is a poem very similar to haiku, but tanka poems have more syllables and they use simile, metaphor, and personification. Tanka poems are written about nature, seasons, love, sadness, and other strong emotions. It has 31 syllables and that are divided into 5 lines. The first line with 5 syllables, the second line with 7 syllables, the third line with 5 syllables, and the fourth and fifth line with 7 syllables. Now let's move on to the Filipino drama during the Japanese period. The drama experienced a lull during the Japanese period because the movie houses showing American films were closed. Many of the plays were a production of English plays in Tagalog. The translators were Francisco Soc Rodrigo, Alberto Concho, and Narciso Pimentel. They also founded the organization of Filipino players named Dramatic. Few of the playwriters were Jose Maria Hernandez, wrote Panday Pira, Francisco Soc Rodrigo wrote Sa Pula Sa Puti, Clodoaldo del Mundo wrote Bulaga, Julian Cruz Balmaceda wrote Sino Ba Kayo? Dahil sa Anak and Higante ng Patay. Now let's move on to the Filipino short story during the Japanese period. During the Japanese period, the field of short story widened, and many authors wrote short stories. Among them were Brigido Batong Bakal, Macario Pineda, Serafin Ginigundo, Liwayway Arceo, Narciso Ramos, NVM Gonzalez, Alicia Lopez Lim, Ligaya Perez, and Gloria Guzman. The best writings in 1945 were selected by a group of judges composed of Francisco Icasiano, Jose Esperanza Cruz, Antonio Rosales, Clodoaldo del Mundo, and Chudora Santos. Narciso Reyes won first prize with his Lupang Kinubuan. Liwayway Arceo won second prize with his Uhaw ang Tigang na Lupa. NBM Gonzalez won third prize with his Lunsod Nayon at Dagat-Dagatan. Let's move on to the Philippine literature in English. The English language literature of the Philippines went through a dark period. The few individuals who dared to write did so for survival or propaganda only. A notable writer of the period was Carlos P. Romulo, who won the Pulitzer Prize for his bestsellers. I Saw the Fall of the Philippines, I See the Philippines Rise, and Mother America and My Brother Americans. Journalists include Salvador P. Lopez, Leon Maria Guerrero, Raul Manglapos, and Carlos Bulosan. Nick Joaquin produced The Woman Who Looked Like Lazarus. Fred Ruiz Castro wrote a few poems. Francisco B. Casiano wrote essays in the Philippine Review. Carlos Bulosan's works included The Laughter of My Father, The Voice of Bataan, and The Six Filipino Poets. In 1932, Alfredo Litiatco published his Harp and Sling, and in 1943, Jose P. Laurel published Forces That Make a Nation Great. And lastly, the Commonwealth Literary Awards gave prizes to meritorious writers. That's all. Thank you for listening.